Section: Introduction. In this section, we discuss modern large language models, LLMs, like GPT-4, Gemma, and Llama, which have impressive generation and inference capabilities. It is commonly understood that larger models with more parameters tend to perform better as they encode a vast amount of knowledge. These large models often consist of billions or even trillions of parameters. When the size of the model parameters increases, there are significant and sometimes unexpected performance improvements on specific tasks, known as emergent abilities. For example, GPT-3 and Lambda showed substantial performance boosts after surpassing certain parameter thresholds. However, it is still unclear how and where LLMs truly comprehend knowledge, and there is a lack of summarized research on the relationship between the depth of LLM networks and their understanding of concepts. Recent studies have approached this issue from two main perspectives: analyzing model weights and architectures, and probing representations using linear classifier probes to test hidden layer performance. In our paper, we introduce the concept of concept depth to measure where different LLMs understand knowledge on various datasets. This is the first time this concept has been introduced in related work. Through extensive experiments using probe techniques, we examine the concept depth of mainstream LLMs on different datasets. Our key contributions include defining concept depth, deconstructing LLM capabilities similar to complex human capabilities, and providing insights into ILM's robustness from a concept depth perspective. We also review related work on concepts representation in deep neural networks, DNNs, and the understanding of knowledge and concepts in LLMs. Previous studies have shown that DNNs exhibit conceptual representations and can learn both direct and indirect concepts. Our paper aims to delve into concepts of varying complexities to enhance our understanding of concepts within LLMs. Section Summary. In this section, we introduce the concept of concept depth to measure where different large language models, LLMs, understand knowledge. Our experiments reveal that basic concepts are typically learned at a shallow level of concept depth, while more complex concepts require deeper levels across different LLMs. By deconstructing LLM capabilities and exploring robustness from a concept depth perspective, we provide insights into how interference factors affect concept depth and how deeper models may counteract such interference. Section: Explorations of Interpretability in LLMs. In this section, we explored the interpretability of large language models, LLMs. We looked at various studies that have analyzed the inner workings of LLMs to understand how they function. These studies have shown that not all layers of LLMs are essential and that some layers may not be used effectively. One method used to analyze LLMs is through pruning, which involves removing unnecessary parameters from the model. This process has revealed a high level of redundancy in the architecture of LLMs. Probes trained with logistic regression have been effective in classifying the accuracy of LLMs in many studies. Our work builds upon previous research by introducing the concept of concept depth to summarize the phenomena observed in LLMs. We focus on where concept depth appears in LLMs and experimentally analyze it by training linear classifier probes. To understand how concepts are encoded in LLMs at different levels and to assess the robustness of their internal representations, we designed a probing framework. We visualized the representations from each layer of LLMs using principal component analysis, PCA, to see how information is encoded at different depths. By using linear classifiers, we further investigated how representations from different layers contribute to the final predictions of LLMs. We quantified the probing differences to evaluate how well LLMs understand the information at each depth. Our experiments involved 9 datasets covering human emotions, logical reasoning, and factual analysis. We categorized these datasets into easy and complex categories based on the performance of LLMs. We used 3 families of open-source models, Gemma, Llama, and Qwen, to support our analysis. During our probing analysis, we used a linear classifier probe with an 8:2 ratio of training set to test set. We focused on the feature representation of the final transformer layer at each depth of the LLMs. Section Summary. In this section, we explore interpretability in large language models, LLMs, by analyzing the internal mechanisms and significance of different layers. By probing techniques and linear classifier analysis, we investigate the concept depth within LLMs, revealing redundancy and unused parameters in certain layers. Through experiments on various datasets, we categorize the complexity of LLM understanding based on probing accuracy at different depths, using models like Gemma, Llama, and Qwen to support our analysis. Section: Datasets. In this section, we utilized 9 different datasets covering facts, emotions, and inferences for our experiments. These datasets include information about cities, common claims, counterfactuals, emotions like hate speech and sentiment analysis, as well as questions about strategies and coin flipping. Each dataset has a specific number of samples, as detailed in our dataset table. To test the robustness of our language model, LLM, we introduced noise by adding random strings in front of the input questions. This noise interferes with the inference process and helps us evaluate how well the LLM can handle disruptions in its internal representation. Quantization, which involves using lower precision levels for faster LLM inference, was also explored. We tested quantization settings at 8-bit, 16-bit, and full 32-bit to see how it impacts the concept depth and the model's ability to understand knowledge. We defined 2 key metrics, the jump point and the converging point, to analyze variations in accuracy during the learning process of the LLM. The jump point indicates a significant boost in accuracy, highlighting the model's recognition of critical features in the dataset. On the other hand, the converging point shows when the model's learning plateaus or reaches its peak capacity, providing insights into its adaptability to different types of data. These metrics help us gain a deeper understanding of the model's learning dynamics. Section Summary. In this section, we utilized 9 diverse datasets covering facts, emotions, and inferences, such as cities, common claim, counterfact, hate eval, STSA, IMDb, sarcasm, strategy QA, and coinflip. To assess the robustness of our language model, LLM, we introduced noise by adding random strings to the input questions, disrupting the inference process. Additionally, we explored the impact of quantization on concept depth by varying precision levels, 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit, to evaluate the model's understanding and accuracy. We introduced metrics like variation rate, jump point, and converging point to analyze the model's learning dynamics and adaptability to different datasets, providing insights into its performance and capacity to recognize critical features or reach peak learning levels. Section: Experimental Analysis. In this section, we delve into an evaluative comparison of performance across a range of datasets. We use a method called ablation to detail the layer-wise accuracy of all 9 LLMs over 9 different datasets. We provide metrics such as accuracy, F1 score, and AUC for different parts of the layers of each model over the 9 datasets. We set a performance threshold of 0.7 accuracy to evaluate how well the models understand concepts. Our analysis leads to 2 main observations. Firstly, LLMs show varying accuracy trends across layers for different concepts. However, for the same concept, different LLMs tend to have consistent accuracy patterns across layers. Secondly, when tasks require different levels of understanding, LLMs demonstrate their comprehension across various neural network layers, showing a layered approach to processing complex concepts. Among the datasets focusing on factual concepts, we observe significant variations in trends across the models. For example, the cities dataset shows a strong grasp of the concept with increasing comprehension at lower layers. On the other hand, the counterfact dataset proves to be more challenging, requiring deeper layers for accuracy improvement compared to other datasets. For datasets related to emotional concept comprehension, such as STSA, IMDb, sarcasm, and hate eval, all models show an increase in accuracy at the initial layers, with convergence happening in the middle layers. Hate eval, in particular, reaches stability early on with high accuracy, indicating a strong understanding of emotional concepts. On the other hand, datasets like Strategy QA and CoinFlip, which involve specific reasoning skills, exhibit a bell-shaped accuracy trajectory across all models, with peak accuracy seen in the middle layers. This complexity highlights the challenges associated with reasoning tasks. In our analysis of the number of parameters, we compare the accuracy levels and converging points across different LLM models within their families. We find that larger models tend to reach their peak comprehension at lower layers for tasks that show significant accuracy improvement with model learning. However, for tasks where accuracy does not change much, all LLM models converge at early layers. Exceptions to these trends are observed in certain families like Qwen, where larger models may exhibit delayed convergence for specific datasets like CoinFlip. This deviation underscores the complexity of certain tasks and how they challenge even larger models. Overall, larger models consistently achieve superior peak performance, indicating that scaling up models enhances their effectiveness and internal representations. When comparing LLMs from different families with similar parameter counts, we find that while they may reach similar peak accuracies, the layers at which they converge to these peaks can vary. This variation suggests that different models may employ diverse mechanisms to tackle the same problems, showcasing the diversity in how models interpret and process complex information. Section Summary. In this section, we conduct experiments to address research questions about concept depth, comparing different LLMs behaviors within datasets and across different sizes. We evaluate performance across various datasets, observing that LLMs exhibit varying accuracy trends across layers for different concepts but consistent patterns within individual concepts. Larger models tend to achieve peak comprehension at earlier layers, showcasing the benefits of scaling up models for better concept understanding. Section: Ablation Study. In this section, we explored how noise and precision reduction affect the learning classification task of LLMs. We tested adding noise by including extra strings at the start of each problem and observed how this impacted the LLM's performance. We also examined LLMs with 8, 16, and 32 bits for precision. The figure displayed the changes in the Gemma 2B model when noise was added and bit representations were reduced. The presence of noise shifted the learning curve to the right, indicating slower convergence. This shows that noise in the input data can hinder the LLM's learning process, making it slower to reach an optimal solution. We noticed that there wasn't much difference between 32 and 16 bits, but the convergence rate slowed down when the model was reduced to 8 bits. Hence, compressing LLMs to 16 bits is a good strategy for future designs. The probing technology has the potential to transform machine learning and speed up inference in large models. One exciting application involves using probes to identify the layer where a concept is learned in a neural network within a large language model. This information can be used for targeted model pruning, removing unnecessary layers following the identified one. This pruning process can significantly accelerate the inference in large language models. By placing probes throughout a neural network, we can understand how information is processed and changed within the network. These probes act as detectors, pinpointing the layers where specific concepts or features are learned. This knowledge helps us identify the crucial layers that greatly influence the model's final predictions. Once we identify the layer responsible for learning a specific concept, we can apply targeted model pruning by removing less important layers while maintaining overall performance. By cutting off layers after the identified one, we reduce computational load, simplify the model, and achieve faster inference times.